and you're going to be generating leads in earnest, generating maybe 100, 200, 300 or 400 leads a month. That is a lot of leads. So here's what you do. First of all, it's one of the really big problems we have in letting agency, that basically what we've got is a building full of administrators. Now, I don't know why there's such a difference. You look at the estate agency side, it's sales, sales, sales. You look at the letting side, it's, subsection 2.4 of the Housing Act, 1986 states that. And all of a sudden you've got a room full of administrators. Now, the problem we have with this is when we start to try and turn our business into a sales machine, and we want to generate leads and we want to generate sales and we want to sell additional services and sell. What everybody comes across is resistance. It's like, oh, well, no, that's not my job. That's not what I'm here to do. I just want to keep the customers happy, and I just want to do my admin, and I want to check my emails and do the renewals and all that sort of stuff. It's a problem. And it's a problem that so many letting agents face when they make that decision to become more of a lead generator, more of a sales converter. It basically just is difficult. Now, why is that? Well, I'll tell you why it is because we haven't created the environment, and we haven't hired the right people, and we haven't given them the mechanism to do what needs to be done. Now, in some instances, you have got that super salesperson sitting in your office. I found them in the tenancy management department. I found them in the new business department. I even found one in the accounts department. So there are some phenomenal salespeople in our businesses, but if we don't give them the right environment, and we don't give them the clearing of the decks, the process, and etc. to be able to achieve that, they're never going to do it. I'll give you an example. If you take your tenancy administrator and you say, right, I want you to sell this and sell that and sell the other, but they've got 67 actions to do every day, gas checks, renewals, maintenance, all those sort of things, they're never going to have the time to be able to do the sales. And if you've got your team so they do a bit of everything, they do the front end, they meet the tenant, they do the viewings, they do the application, they're answering the phone to the tenants, they're dealing with the referencing, all that sort of stuff. And then you say, right, I need you to get an extra 15 sales. They're not going to do it because they're too busy focused on the admin, the compliance, and you're really going to be unhappy with them if they move somebody in without that perfect piece of paper that you know is so important. And so we have to create the environment, and really we have to separate between sales and admin. After 35 years of running businesses, and I've run businesses in various sectors, as you know, from training to ad agency to letting agencies, sales departments, when you look at how a good sales efficient department runs, it's because we have them separate. And basically we create a sales machine. So if you're going to be starting to turn on digital marketing and you're going to be generating leads in earnest, then you're going to be looking at generating maybe 100, 200, 300 or 400 leads a month. Now that is a lot of leads. Given that the average letting agency generates 3 to 4 a month, it's a massive increase. So here's what you do. First of all, you've got to hire people that are specifically the right character and mindset to be salespeople. Now on the disc profile, you're looking for high I with a decent amount of D. The challenges, of course, they're going to have very little S and C, which means they're going to be really talkative, really chatty, really outgoing, happy to hit the phones, no fear, no phone fear. They just want to make that money, make that call. They're probably not going to be very good at paperwork, but hey ho, we're getting the sales in. That's the sort of person you need to be looking at hiring. And then you need to think about their specific roles. We expect a call center to be making somewhere between 80 and 120 dials a day. They need to be spending around 2 to 3 hours on calls, and we want them to be booking around 6 to 7 appointments, qualified appointments for their closer every single day. That's their daily task, their daily target. There's about an hour in there for admin, which they will always moan about, by the way. I've just come off a call with our sales team, and they always moan about the admin, but they have to do the admin. But then it's down to the closers. Now the closers, very different. They're going to be taking around 7 to 8 appointments a day, probably spending an hour with each of those appointments or 45 minutes with each of those appointments, and you're probably going to leave a little bit of time in there for nurture calls and follow-up calls as well. So 2 very different roles, but I can tell you now there's no time in there for doing viewings, valuations, inspections, check-ins, check-outs, or any of that other stuff. They are absolutely salespeople. So what we've got to be looking at is finding, number one, someone who is absolutely no fear of the phone. If you see any phone fear, hesitation, procrastination, they are not the right person for this department. You have to create the environment. You are just going to do that, nothing else. You have to create the environment where they don't have to insert all the other things. They just do that. I find home workers work really well here because there is no distraction. They're out of the office. They're not getting caught in the mayhem and, oh, can I just help you? No, you just do that. Then you have to create process. So you need to make sure that you're looking at creating things like daily sales huddles. How many calls did you do yesterday? You need to have the tracking mechanism. So you need call register so you can see exactly how many calls, how many times I we use Just Call, for example. There's many different apps out there, but you need a call tracking system that will tell you how many calls, how long they've been on the phone, how many appointments booked, so you can keep track of all this. You need the reports to keep the numbers and make sure you keep it on track with that. You need to help them with training. You need to listen to the calls. So you need call recording. Listen to the calls and listen to what they're saying and help them be better. So you need somebody really focus on managing them and training them. At the end of that, you need rewards, bonuses, commissions, all of those things. They're going to reward and make them feel great when they hit their targets. I just had a call this morning. They've done 4 sales last week. One of our closers, 4 sales last week. The call setters have done another 10 sales. It's exciting. It's a great environment. It's like, come on. I mean, the virtual bells ringing, all that sort of stuff. It's create that environment, which doesn't go really well with the average letting agency, if we're honest, which is usually quite serious. We're all watching a webinar about whatever piece of legislation is coming in right now and, getting hit up on the bit of paperwork that was missing yesterday or finding the keys or whatever chaos is happening today. We know businesses 1,000 bits of minutiae causing chaos every day. A sales department is very different. So when we say letting agency people can't sell, it's almost true, but it's not because of the individuals quite often. Now, partly it is because the people we hired to run this admin heavy, operationally led, compliance driven and focused business is not the sort of person you will hire to be a call setter and make $120 a day or to be a closer and have those 7 appointments a day. They are not the same humans. And so really I would suggest you might have that person in your building. You just might. But in most cases, you don't. And it starts from the hiring, looking for a different animal, a different human that comes from a sales background. You can train the lettings bit, but it's harder to train that sales character. So you need that sales character, that sales personality. Hire that person in and just really give them the environment to be able to succeed. Now, what we're seeing here is if you can get a call setter doing $80 to $120 a day, booking those 6-7 appointments a day, maybe doing some low ticket sales on some different things. Then you have the closer, which is doing the high value stuff, listing, sales listings, lettings listings, let only to fully managed takeovers, on market, off market, whatever it is you're selling, it doesn't matter. Their job is to generate business for you. They need to have a higher level of training to understand the letting side of things, and they need that manager to oversee it and manage it. And you need to put some time in this. You need to be having those morning meetings with them. You need to be doing the or you either have to have somebody to do it, or you need to be training them as well. So, where can you get the training from? What can you invest in to help them be better? What's the scripts they're going to be using? What's the offer? What's the product they're selling? What's the compliance elements around that? You're probably going to need an administrator in the back end as well, because we all know they're not very good at admin. So you need someone who's going to be making sure they're crossing the T's and dotting the I's, so to speak, filling out the forms at the end of every day. That tracking mechanism. It's not easy, but when you get it right, oh my Lord, it is something else. When you're seeing 450 dials a day and you're seeing, 40 appointments booked in a day, and you're seeing those sales coming in and the deals coming in, you're seeing your property stock rise, it's another thing. So it's really important that when we look at a sales department, we start to look at it as a totally separate new thing. It's almost like a whole new department. It's not just someone you pick out at tenancy management and just do some sales. That is not going to work. It's a bit like they say when you go into a new thing, burn the boats. You've just got to go into it all guns blazing, invest in it. It's not going to be perfect. Your first few hires will probably be terrible. You'll probably have to kiss a few frogs. You'll probably start pulling your hair out. And also as well, they don't get it instantly. It's not something where you can hire someone and like a month later they're perfect. In my experience, it takes if you've got a good salesperson that has the chatter and is absolutely not afraid of the phone, is money hungry, wants to do the sale, stay with them, because it takes about 3 months to get them from no sale to selling. Takes about 3 months of lead time, and it's very easy at 2 months to be thinking, oh God, they haven't sold anything, this is terrible, what do I do? Usually about 3 months, it clicks. And you also need to understand your nurture time as well. So from a lead to close, it's not one call. It could be 6 calls, 7 calls, 8 calls, 9 calls. It could be 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. What's your lead nurture time? And that will differ depending on what you're selling. Someone who wants to sell their property, it's probably a week. Someone who wants to let their property, it might be a month, 6 weeks while they're waiting for the tenant to move out. Let owners fully managed takeover, it could be 3 months. So you've got to understand your lead notes. So you're not setting unrealistic expectations as well. So it's understanding all those metrics. I've been in sales since I was 18 years old. That is like 35 years ago. And sales is a completely different machine to a letting agency. I'm a mechanic mindset. I love lettings. I love the mechanics of lettings. I systemised and processed my lettings business to the nth degree. But I always maintained a sales team at the front. It was sales at the front, lettings upstairs at the back. And when I say sales, I don't mean estate agency sales. I mean letting sales. I mean, we had salespeople. We were dinging the bells. We were putting the whiteboards up. We were setting targets, bonuses. We were like, ding, 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 BHAGs. Come on, come on, come on. I ran my lettings new business department as a sales machine. All the paperwork and all the other stuff that goes on was in a different room upstairs in the top 2 floors. That's where the tenancy management and everything else went on. So even if you can just do that, separate business creation from business management, and I've done that since I first started lettings 35 years ago. And for me, sales is a thing. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's great. And when you put the two together as a letting agency business, you have absolute gold. So hopefully that answers your question.